The Fall of Madame Fleur, Sins of the Father by Celeste King.
Madame Fleur. Why do I know that name?
Because silly, it's the name of the headmistress of the bordello. Well, she used to be.
Didn't she die?
Yeah, that's how it turned out. Looks like she has a history.
If you haven't heard of her, that means you've missed out on She's My Prey. But don't worry, you can get the entire story from worldsofprotheka.com.
That's right. Use code YouTube30 for 30% off of any digital product on the site.
Like this video or leave a comment to show your support, and subscribe for updates on daily releases of free full audiobooks.
This is The Fall of Madame Fleur, Sins of the Father by Celeste King. Chapter 1. I settle into the plush cushions of the garden bench, the soft click of my knitting needles a soothing rhythm against the backdrop of chirping songbirds. The sun's warmth caresses my skin, and I hum a tune my mother taught me, my fingers working deftly with the silken thread. "Miss Fleur," a servant approaches, bowing slightly. "Your father requests your presence in the study." I set my knitting aside, smoothing the folds of my gown. "Thank you, Mira. I'll be right there." As I make my way through our sprawling manor, I can't help but marvel at the intricate tapestries adorning the walls, each one a testament to my father's successful trade ventures with the minotaurs. The floors gleam beneath my feet, polished to perfection by our staff. I knock gently on the study door. "Come in, my dear," Father's voice calls out. I step inside, greeted by the familiar scent of leather-bound books and parchment. Father sits behind his massive desk, a smile crinkling the corners of his eyes. "Ah, Fleur, I wanted to discuss the upcoming gala. The dark elf nobility will be in attendance, and it's crucial we make a good impression." I nod, perching on the edge of a nearby chair. "Of course, Father. Shall I help Mother with the arrangements?" He chuckles, leaning back in his seat. "Always so eager to assist. Yes, that would be wonderful. And perhaps you could wear that new gown we had commissioned, the one with the emerald accents that match your eyes?" "It would be my pleasure," I reply, a warm feeling of contentment washing over me. This is the life I've always known: comfort, luxury, and the respect that comes with our family's status in vogue. As I leave the study, I overhear snippets of conversation from the next room over. "Did you hear? Another shipment of Minotaur silks arrived this morning. The master's coffers must be overflowing." I smile to myself, proud of my father's accomplishments. Our wealth has opened doors for us in this dark elf city, granting us a place among the elite despite our human heritage. I turn to leave, my mind already racing with gala preparations, when I collide with what feels like a wall of muscle. The impact knocks me off balance, and I stumble backward, my heart leaping into my throat. "Oh!" I gasp, looking up, and up, and up. A towering minotaur stands before me, his broad chest barely contained by a finely tailored waistcoat. "Mr. Blackthorn, I'm so sorry, I didn't see you there." His deep chuckle reverberates through the hallway. "No harm done, Miss Fleur, though I must say you've grown since I last saw you. You're becoming quite the young lady." Heat creeps up my neck at his appraisal. I smooth my skirts, acutely aware of how my childhood gowns no longer fit quite right. "Thank you, sir. It's been some time since your last visit." Mr. Blackthorn's dark eyes twinkle with amusement. "Indeed it has. Tell me, is your father in his study? I have some business to discuss with him." "Yes, he is," I reply, gesturing towards the door. "I've just left him, actually. He should be free to see you now." "Excellent," he says, his massive hand engulfing the doorknob. "Well then, Miss Fleur, I bid you good day." As he enters Father's study, curiosity gnaws at me. What business could the Minotaur merchant have with Father that's so urgent? Before I can stop myself, I'm pressing my ear against the heavy oak door, straining to catch their conversation. "Aldrich, old friend," Mr. Blackthorn's voice booms. I'm afraid I bring troubling news. My father's response is too low to make out, but there's an edge to his tone I've never heard before. The Dark Elves are cracking down on human merchants, Mr. Blackthorne continues. Your status here is precarious at best. My breath catches in my throat. Precarious? But we're one of the wealthiest families in Voig. Surely our position is secure. We aren't leaving. This is as much our home as it is theirs. Father's voice is clearer now, strong and stubborn. I lean against the doorframe of Father's study, my brow furrowing as I listen to the heated conversation within. The familiar scent of ink and parchment mingles with the tension in the air. Aldrich, you're being unreasonable, Mr. Blackthorne, Father's longtime business partner, argues. The signs are clear. We need to leave Voig while we still can. Father's deep chuckle reverberates through the room. Nonsense, old friend. These are merely rumours spread by our competitors. They're trying to scare us off. I bite my lip, torn between my instinctive trust in Father's judgment and the nagging worry in my gut. He's always been the pillar of our family, his decisions guiding us to prosperity and respect among the Dark Elves. Aldrich, please, Mr. Blackthorne pleads. Think of your family. The political climate is shifting. Humans like you. Like us, Father interrupts, his voice sharp. We're not just any humans, Blackthorne. We've earned our place here. Our connections run deep. I can't help but smile at his confidence. Father's always had a way of making the impossible seem achievable. Your connections won't matter if... Enough, Father says firmly. I've built everything we have from the ground up. I won't abandon it over baseless fears. The study door swings open, and Mr. Blackthorne storms out, nearly colliding with me. His face softens when he sees me. Ah, Miss Fleur, my apologies. I nod politely. No harm done, Mr. Blackthorne. As he leaves, I slip into the study. Father stands by the window, his shoulders tense. Everything all right, Father? He turns, his expression brightening. Fleur, my dear, just some business disagreements. Nothing for you to worry about. I move closer, placing a hand on his arm. Are you sure? Mr. Blackthorne seemed quite upset. Father pats my hand, his smile reassuring. He's always been a bit of a worrier. But look around us, Fleur. We've made a life here that most humans could only dream of. Why would we give that up? I nod, feeling the familiar swell of pride in my chest. Father's right, of course. Our home, our status, our connections. All of it is a testament to his hard work and shrewd business acumen. You're right, Father, I say, squeezing his arm. We belong here. He beams at me, his eyes crinkling at the corners. That's my girl. Now go on. Returning to the garden, I reclaim my seat and pick up my knitting once more. The sun dapples through the leaves of the shade trees, casting intricate patterns on the manicured lawn. In the distance, I can see the spires of Voig rising against the sky, a reminder of the grandeur that surrounds us. I begin to hum again, my heart light and my mind at ease. Life, it seems, couldn't be more perfect. Chapter 2. I sit in our lavish sitting room, surrounded by the soft rustle of silk as Mother and my sisters, Adeline and Celine, fuss over fabric swatches and invitation designs. The upcoming gala consumes their every thought, but I find my mind wandering. Fleur, darling, Mother's voice cuts through my reverie. We simply must have your father's input on the guest list. Be a dear and fetch him from his office in town, won't you? I sigh, setting aside the delicate lace I'd been toying with. Of course, Mother. I'll go right away. Adeline giggles. Try not to get distracted by any handsome dark elf nobles on your way. Oh, hush, I retort, rolling my eyes. Unlike some people, I can keep my wits about me. As I step outside, Our family's ornate carriage pulls up, right on cue. The driver, an aging human named Garrett, tips his hat. "Where to, Miss Fleur?" "Father's office, please," I reply, settling into the plush seat. The carriage lurches forward, and I watch as our grand estate fades into the distance. The streets of Voig unfold before us, a tapestry of opulence and squalor. As we pass through the wealthier districts, I can't help but feel a swell of pride. This is the world we belong to, the one Father has worked so hard to secure for us. But as we near the heart of the city, the scenery changes. The gleaming spires give way to cramped, run-down buildings. Human faces, gaunt and weary, peer out from dingy windows and dark alleyways. A pang of something twists in my gut. Pity, guilt. I push the feeling aside. These people simply haven't had the opportunities we have. Father always says that with hard work and determination, anyone can rise above their circumstances. Quite a contrast, isn't it, miss? Garrett's voice drifts back to me. I nod, not trusting myself to speak. We pass a group of human children, their clothes tattered and faces smudged with dirt. They watch our carriage with wide, hungry eyes. "It's a shame," Garrett continues, his tone matter of fact. "Some folks just can't catch a break in this city." "I suppose," I murmur, averting my gaze. "But Father says—" "Begging your pardon, miss," Garrett interrupts gently, "but your father's experience ain't exactly common." I frown, ready to defend Father's wisdom, but we've arrived at his office building. As I step out of the carriage, the stark divide between our world and theirs has never felt more apparent. I push open the heavy oak door to Father's office building, my mind still churning with Garrett's words. The familiar scent of parchment and ink greets me as I climb the stairs, my footsteps echoing in the empty corridor. I reach for the doorknob, ready to burst in and demand his attention for the gala preparations. The door swings open, and my world shatters. Father's there, all right. But he's not alone. A dark elf woman, her midnight skin a stark contrast to his pale flesh, is perched on his desk. Her legs are wrapped around his waist, her fingers tangled in his hair. They break apart at my entrance, faces flushed and clothes askew. "Fleur!" Father gasps, stumbling backward. "What are you—" "Father?" I whisper, my voice trembling with rage and disgust. "What are you doing?" The dark elf slides off the desk, smoothing down her ornate gown. Her eyes, cold and calculating, flick between Father and me. "I believe that's my cue to leave," she purrs, her accent thick and melodious. "Lysandra, wait." Father reaches for her, but she's already gliding past me, the scent of exotic perfume lingering in her wake. I stand there, frozen, as the truth crashes over me like a tidal wave. "This is why we stayed," I whisper, the pieces falling into place. "Not for business, for her." Father's face crumples. "Fleur, please, let me explain." "Explain?" I laugh, the sound harsh and foreign to my own ears. "Explain how you've been lying to us, how you've risked everything, our safety, our reputation. For what? A quick tumble with some dark elf hussy?" "Don't speak of her that way," he snaps, a flicker of anger in his eyes. "Lysandra is—" "I don't care what she is," I shout, my composure finally shattering. "Do you have any idea what you've done? If this gets out—" "It won't," he insists, moving towards me. "No one knows. No one has to know." I back away, my skin crawling at the thought of his touch. "I know, Father. I do," I hiss, "and I'll never be able to unknow it." I burst out of the building, my chest heaving as I gulp down the cool evening air. The world spins around me, and I lean against the wall for support. That's when I see her. Lysandra. She's standing there, calm as you please, adjusting a delicate silver bracelet on her wrist. Her eyes meet mine, and a slow, satisfied smile spreads across her face. My, she purrs. What a lovely surprise. Fleur, isn't it? I straighten up, forcing my voice to remain steady. And you must be leaving. She laughs, the sound like tinkling glass. Oh, darling, I'm afraid I'm not going anywhere. That's when I notice it. The emblem on her dress, partially hidden by an ornate brooch. My blood runs cold as recognition dawns. A noble, a minor one perhaps, but still. Something humans could never be. Something my mother certainly isn't. Lysandra follows my gaze, her smile widening. Ah, yes. I see you've noticed. Your father does have exquisite taste, doesn't he? I clench my fists, bile rising in my throat. You're disgusting, both of you. She tisks, shaking her head. Such harsh words. Is that any way to speak to your future stepmother? The world tilts again, and I stumble towards the carriage. Garrett's concerned face swims into view. Miss Fleur? Are you all right? I ignore him, practically throwing myself into the carriage. Take me home. Now. As we pull away, I catch one last glimpse of Lysandra. She blows me a kiss, her laughter echoing in my ears. The carriage rocks gently as we make our way through the city. My mind races, grappling with the enormity of what I've just discovered. Should I confront father? Tell mother? Stay silent and pray it all goes away? I close my eyes, memories flooding back. Father's late nights at the office, the hushed arguments with mother, the way he'd insisted we stay in vogue, despite the growing tensions. It all makes sense now, and I hate him for it. Miss? Garrett's voice breaks through my thoughts. We're home. I look up, surprised to see our estate looming before us. How long have I been lost in thought? As I step out of the carriage, I catch sight of mother through the window. She's laughing, her head thrown back in genuine mirth as she chats with Adeline and Celine. My heart clenches. How can I shatter their world? But how can I not? I can't just ruin their idea of this happy family. They would be as crushed as I am, and father would surely be furious if I disobeyed him. While I know he was fond of me before, now I'm not so sure. I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. One way or another, everything is about to change.
Rosenfire, our family holds great weight and power in Orthani, and yet I hear whispers.
Do you think he can take him?
There is no way that this could happen.
No, more books. I can't remain locked in this ivory tower a moment longer.
She's perfect. The Baron's daughter must be found.
Julius, we shouldn't.
Why shouldn't we?
I am not a full dark elf. I do not possess their ethereal beauty. How will I find a mate?
The lowly Baron's son apparently has shown that he has the same gift of fire-wielding as I, if not stronger.
I am the family's dirty little secret. I am not the future of the family. Dukan is.
This world was created from a seed of evil.
I propose we take Dukan out of the picture, permanently.
Please, let me go.
If you want to join the poor humans who are bought and sold in the markets on a daily basis, you will find a way to get there.
I am free, and I am terrified.
You will never escape me.
I can try.
You will fail. Get seasons 1 and 2 of the Dark Elf series from worldsofprotheka.com.
Protheka's magic is eternal. This series will show you why. Chapter 3. I hear the commotion before I see it. Adeline and Celine's voices, usually light and carefree, are pitched high with panic as they burst into the sitting room. My stomach drops. This can't be good. Mother, have you seen? Adeline's words die on her lips as she spots our mother, frozen in place, a newspaper clutched in her trembling hands. I push past my sisters, my heart pounding. What's going on? But I don't need an answer. The headline screams at me from the front page. Dark elf noble has affair with human tradesman. Oh gods, it's happened. The secret I've been carrying for days upon days, burning a hole in my chest, is out for all to see. This can't be true, Mother whispers, her face ashen. There must be some mistake. I swallow hard, guilt clawing at my throat. Mother, It has to be a lie, Celine insists, peering over Mother's shoulder. Father would never. He would, I blurt out, unable to hold it in any longer. And he did. 3 pairs of eyes snap to me, wide with shock and disbelief. Fleur? Mother's voice is barely audible. What are you saying? Before I can even begin to explain, a bellow rips through the house. Fleur! My father's voice, usually so controlled, is a roar of unbridled fury. The sound of it sends ice through my veins. He storms into the room, his face contorted with rage. In his hand, he clutches a fistful of crumpled papers. With a violent gesture, he hurls them at me. They scatter across the floor, headlines blaring accusations in bold type. You, he snarls, jabbing a finger at me. This is your doing. I stumble back, shocked. Father, Don't lie to me. He advances, looming over me. You've ruined us. Everything I've built, everything I've worked for. Gone. My mother gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. Celine whimpers, shrinking behind Adeline. But I didn't. I try to protest, my voice small and trembling. Silence! Father roars. You think I don't know it was you? Who else could have known? Tears sting my eyes. The weight of the secret I've carried, the shame and disgust I've felt, it all comes crashing down on me. And now, to be accused of this. Father, please, I beg. I swear I never said a word to anyone. Liar. He raises his hand, and I flinch, bracing for a blow that doesn't come. Wait. Adeline's voice cuts through the tension. She's bent over, scanning one of the fallen papers. Father, it wasn't Fleur. He whirls on her. What? Adeline's hands shake as she holds up the paper. It says here, the source of the information was the elven noble's brother. A heavy silence falls over the room. Father's face drains of colour, his anger giving way to shock. Let me see that, he snaps, snatching the paper from Adeline's hands. I watch as he reads, his eyes darting back and forth. The fight seems to drain out of him, leaving him looking old and defeated. It's true, he murmurs. It wasn't you. He looks up at me, and for a moment I see a flicker of shame in his eyes. But it's quickly replaced by a hardness I've never seen before. It doesn't matter now, he says, his voice cold. The damage is done. We're ruined. For the first time, Mother speaks up. Do you love her? I can't tear my eyes away from the pathetic spectacle unfolding before me. Father, once so proud and commanding, now hunches his shoulders as he faces Mother across the dining table. The candles flicker, casting long shadows that seem to dance with glee at our family's misfortune. Lysandra is... she's different, Father mumbles, his eyes fixed on his untouched plate. You have to understand, I never meant for this to happen. Mother's lips press into a thin line. Different how? More exciting than your human wife? I wince at the venom in her voice. Adeline and Celine exchange worried glances, their food growing cold. It's not like that, Father protests weakly. We just... connected. She understands the pressures of my work, the intricacies of elven politics. "Oh, I'm sure she understands a lot of things," Mother snaps. "Tell me, does she understand how to explain to our daughters why their father's a laughingstock?" The tension in the room is suffocating. I push my chair back, the scrape of wood on stone startling everyone. "I'm not hungry," I mutter, fleeing to the safety of my room. Days bleed into weeks, and an uneasy quiet settles over our household. But beyond our walls, I can feel the storm brewing. Whispers follow us in the market, and old friends suddenly find excuses to avoid us. The air feels thick with tension, and I catch myself jumping at every unexpected sound. "Did you hear?" Adeline hisses one afternoon as we pretend to browse a fabric stall. Her fingers tremble as she runs them over a bolt of silk we both know we can't afford. "The Fandiris cancelled their order. That's the third one this week." I nod, a knot forming in my stomach. The weight of our family's reputation crumbles a little more with each lost contract. Father's been locked in his study more than usual. I lower my voice, glancing around to make sure no one's eavesdropping. I heard him arguing with Mother last night. It sounded bad. Celine tugs at my sleeve, her big eyes wide with worry. "What does it mean?" "Are we in trouble?" I force a smile, ruffling her hair. My heart aches at her innocence, wishing I could shield her from the harsh realities closing in around us. "Don't worry, little one. Father will sort it out." The lie tastes bitter on my tongue, but I can't bear to crush her hope. But as we make our way home, the weight of uncertainty presses down on me. The cobblestones beneath my feet feel less steady, the familiar streets of Voy suddenly alien and threatening. Shadows seem to lengthen, reaching for us with grasping fingers. I quicken our pace, eager to reach the false safety of our home. That night I lie awake, straining to hear the muffled voices from Father's study. The words are indistinct, but the tone is clear. Panic, desperation, fear. I pull my pillow over my head, trying to block out the sound, but sleep eludes me. In the darkness, I can almost feel our carefully constructed world crumbling around us. "What have you done, Father? And what's going to happen to us?" Chapter 4. I jolt awake to the sound of screams piercing the night. My heart races as I recognise the terrified voices of Adeline and Celine. Before I can fully process what's happening, my bedroom door flies open and my sisters burst in. "Fleur, help us!" Adeline cries, her voice cracking with fear as she stands with her back to the door. They leap onto my bed, clinging to me like frightened kittens. Celine buries her face in my nightgown, her small body shaking with sobs. "What's going on?" I demand, trying to keep my voice steady despite the panic rising in my chest. "Tell me what—" The thunderous crash of my door being kicked in drowns out my words. Dark elven guards flood into the room, their armour gleaming in the moonlight streaming through my window. Their eyes, cold and merciless, lock onto us. "By order of Lord Valar, you're to come with us," one of them barks, his hand resting on the hilt of his sword. I pull my sisters closer, my mind racing. "Lord Valar? What does he want with us?" The guard's lip curls in a sneer. "Don't play dumb, human. Your father's crimes against the noble house of Valar won't go unpunished." Realization hits me like a punch to the gut. This is about Father's affair with that dark elf noblewoman, the brother, the noble's guards. It's all crashing down on us now. "Please," I plead. "My sisters have nothing to do with this. Let them—" Silence. Another guard steps forward, grabbing my arm roughly. "All of you downstairs. Now." They drag us from the bed, ignoring our protests and Celine's terrified wails. As we're shoved into the hallway, I catch sight of Mother being pulled from her room, her face a mask of shock and fear. My youngest sibling, my brother Gale, clings to her skirts. "Where's father?" I call out to her, but a guard strikes me across the back of the head. I said, "Silence, wench." We're herded down the stairs like cattle, our bare feet slapping against the cold stone. The once grand entryway of our home now feels like a trap, closing in around us. Father stands there, surrounded by more guards, his head bowed in defeat. "See what you have done?" Mother hisses at him as we're shoved together. Before he can answer, Lord Valar himself strides through the front door, his eyes blazing with righteous fury. He takes in the sight of us, huddled together in our night clothes, and a cruel smile plays across his lips. "Well, well," he drawls, "the mighty have fallen indeed. Tell me, merchant, was my sister worth all this?" Father's shoulders slump. "My lord, I—" "Silence!" Valar's hand cracks across father's face. The sound echoes through our once grand foyer. "You don't get to speak, human. You've lost that privilege." I flinch, instinctively pulling Adeline and Celine closer. Their small bodies tremble against mine. Valar turns to his guards. "Arrest this lowlife. Let all of Voig see what happens to those who think themselves above our laws." 2 guards seize father's arms, roughly binding his wrists with enchanted rope. The magic crackles, sending sparks of pain across his skin. "Please," mother sobs. "Have mercy. We didn't know." "Didn't know." Valar laughs, the sound cold and mirthless. "Oh, you knew. You all knew. And now you'll pay the price." He snaps his fingers, and more guards pour into our home. They begin tearing through rooms, upending furniture and smashing heirlooms. "By order of House Valar, all assets belonging to the human Aldrich are hereby seized," the Dark Elf Lord proclaims. "His businesses, his wealth, his precious trinkets, all of it now belongs to us." I watch in horror as our life is systematically dismantled. The beautiful tapestry Mother spent years weaving is ripped from the wall. Father's prized collection of Minotaur artifacts is carelessly tossed into sacks. "My lord," I dare to speak, my voice barely above a whisper, "what will become of us?" Valar's gaze falls on me, and a chill runs down my spine. "You should have thought of that before your father decided to stick his dirty human nose where it didn't belong." Adeline gasps, and I cover Celine's ears. Gale is sobbing into Mother's bosom. "You're lucky I don't sell the lot of you into slavery," Valar continues. "Consider your miserable lives my act of charity." He turns back to father, who's being dragged towards the door. "Enjoy your new accommodations, Aldrich. I hear the dungeons are lovely this time of year." I stand frozen, watching as our world crumbles around us. The guards continue their rampage through our home, and each crash of broken glass or splintered wood feels like a dagger to my heart. My sisters cling to me, their sobs muffled against my nightgown. "Fleur," Adeline whimpers. "What's going to happen to us?" I swallow hard, trying to find words of comfort, but they stick in my throat. How can I reassure her when I'm just as lost and terrified? Mother collapses to her knees, her face buried in her hands. "How could you, Aldrich?" she wails. "How could you do this to us?" I want to scream at him too, to unleash all the anger and betrayal boiling inside me. But as I look at father, his shoulders slumped, his eyes hollow with defeat, I feel nothing but a cold, gnawing emptiness. "I'm sorry," he whispers, his voice barely audible over the chaos. "I never meant—" "Shut it!" A guard backhands him across the face, silencing his pathetic attempt at an apology. I flinch at the impact, but part of me, a dark, bitter part I didn't know existed, thinks he deserves it. He deserves all of this. "This is all your fault," I hiss, surprising myself with the venom in my voice. "You selfish, arrogant fool! Look what you've done to us!" Father's eyes meet mine, filled with shame and regret. But it's not enough. It will never be enough. Please, Celine sobs, tugging at my sleeve. Make it stop, Fleur. Make the bad men go away. Her innocence, her belief that I can somehow fix this, breaks something inside me. Tears I've been holding back spill down my cheeks as I pull her close. I can't, sweetie, I choke out. I'm so sorry, but I can't. As I hold my sisters, trying to shield them from the destruction of everything we've ever known, I feel a change settling over me. The carefree girl I was mere hours ago is gone, shattered like the priceless vases now littering our floor. In her place stands someone harder, colder. Someone who has to be strong enough to protect what's left of our family. Because father certainly won't. If someone had told me a month ago that I would be running for my life instead of sitting in the stuffy classroom of the bordello, preparing to be sold off to indoor, I would have laughed.
The forest is not your safe space, little one.
But there's no avoiding my fate.
It's you. You're the one.
I've spent my entire life training to be the perfect bride for the top-bidding dark elf. So much can change in so little time.
You understand why you're being punished, right, child?
Your blood. It sings to me.
Please, let me out of here.
You need to learn your place.
But what are you? Where are you taking me?
Run!
I'm a bringer of death.
No, you're not dying. I won't let you.
You won't be able to get out.
Let me go, please.
Sadie, I will make you mine.
Chapter 5. I watch in stunned silence as father is dragged out of our home, his feet scrabbling against the polished floor. The door slams shut behind him, and the sound echoes through the suddenly empty house. Lord Vaylor's cold eyes sweep over us, his lip curling in disgust. You have 1 hour, he sneers. Gather what you deem most important. When I return, you'll be removed from this property, by force if necessary. My sisters cling to me, their small bodies shaking with sobs. Mother stands frozen, her face pale and tear-streaked. Did you not hear me? Vaylor snaps. Your time is ticking away. I suggest you hurry. His words jolt me into action. I turn to my family, forcing steel into my voice. We need to move, now. But where will we go? Adeline whimpers. I swallow hard, pushing down my own fear. We'll figure that out later. Right now, we need to pack. Mother seems to shake herself out of her daze. Girls, go to your rooms. Pack only what you absolutely need. As my sisters scurry off, I grab Mother's arm. What about Father's study? There might be something valuable we can use. She nods, her eyes haunted. I'll check there. You handle the bedrooms. I rush to the kitchen, my mind racing. Food, we'll need food, and blankets, and anything we can possibly sell. My hands shake as I grab sacks, filling them with dried meats, hard cheeses and preserves. Fleur! Celine calls from upstairs. I can't reach my favourite doll. Coming! I shout back, my voice cracking. As I dash up the stairs, I pass Gale struggling with an overstuffed trunk. Leave the books, I tell him. We need practical things. His lower lip trembles. But, no buts, buddy, I say firmly. Clothes, shoes, anything warm. That's what matters now. In Celine's room, I reach for the doll on the high shelf. As I hand it to her, I notice the pearl necklace around its neck. A gift from Father on her last name day. Here, I say, gently removing it. We might need this later. Celine's eyes fill with fresh tears, but she nods bravely. Back downstairs, I find Mother in Father's study, rifling through drawers. Any luck? I ask. She shakes her head, frustration etched on her face. He must have hidden his emergency funds elsewhere. Damn him. The bitterness in her voice startles me. I've never heard her speak of father like that before. Guards burst in, taking hold of both of us and yanking us back downstairs. They shove us through the door, Celine, Adeline, and Gail already waiting for us. I stand on the cobblestone street, my family huddled around me like lost fledglings. Our home, our entire life, looms behind us, now as foreign and unreachable as the moon's. Move along, a guard snarls, shoving Mother. She stumbles, nearly falling. Don't touch her, I snap, steadying her. The guard's hand flies to his sword hilt, and I force myself to swallow my anger. We're going, just give us a moment. He sneers but steps back. I turn to my family, taking in their shell-shocked expressions. Mother's vacant stare, Gail's trembling lip, the twins clinging to each other. What do we do now? Adeline whispers, her eyes wide with fear. I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. We survive. But how? Gail asks, his voice cracking. We have nothing. Nowhere to go. We have each other, I say firmly, even as doubt gnaws at my insides. And we'll figure it out, together. Mother lets out a choked sob, cradling Gail in her arms. Oh, Fleur, my sweet girl, this isn't your burden to bear. I take her hand, squeezing it gently. It's all of our burden now, Mother. We can't fall apart. Not here, not now. I want to go home, Celine whimpers. I know, sweetie, I murmur, stroking her hair. But we can't. We have to be brave now, okay? She nods, wiping her nose on her sleeve. I look at each of them in turn, trying to project a confidence I don't feel. Listen to me, I say. Things are going to be hard for a while. We won't have the comforts we're used to, but we're still a family, and that's what matters. We'll get through this. Where will we sleep? Adeline asks. I hesitate, realizing I have no answer. The streets of Voig are no place for humans after dark, especially not now. I might know a place. Adeline pipes up, his adolescent voice trembling. Remember old Nona, the herb woman? She always liked us. Maybe she'd let us stay for a night or two. Hope flickers in my chest. That's brilliant, Adeline. It's worth a try at least. I hoist our meagre belongings, all we were allowed to take, onto my shoulder. Come on, we need to move before night falls. As we make our way through the darkening streets, I can feel the weight of stares on us. Whispers follow in our wake, a mix of pity and disdain. Head up, I murmur to my siblings. Don't let them see you're afraid. We trudge on, each step taking us further from the life we knew. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know one thing. I'll do whatever it takes to keep my family safe, even if it means becoming someone I never thought I'd be, the same kind of humans I used to pity. Chapter 6. I watch in disbelief as old Nona brandishes her broom, her wrinkled face twisted in anger. Get out. I won't have your misfortune staining my doorstep. Please, I beg. We just need a place for the night. We'll be gone by morning, I swear. I said no. She swings the broom, nearly catching Gail across the face. Your father's shame is your own now. Go join the other dregs where you belong. The door slams shut, leaving us in stunned silence. Celine bursts into tears, and I feel my own eyes stinging. It's okay, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. We'll figure something out. Mother slumps against the wall, her face ashen. Where can we go now? I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. The streets, it's our only option. The slums. Adeline gasps. But it's dangerous there. We don't have a choice, I say, more harshly than I intend. Unless you'd rather sleep in the gutter. We make our way through the darkening streets, the shadows growing longer and more menacing. The stench of Prothekan slums hits us before we even reach its borders, a mix of unwashed bodies, rotting food, and despair. Stay close, I warn, gripping Celine's hand tightly. We navigate the maze of ramshackle buildings and makeshift tents. Hollow-eyed humans stare at us as we pass, some with pity, others with hunger. There, Gale points to a small alcove between two crumbling structures. We could fit there for the night. It's barely big enough for all of us, but it's shelter. We huddle together, our meagre belongings piled at our feet. I'll find us some food, I say, standing up. Mother grabs my arm. Fleur, no, it's not safe. We need to eat. They didn't let us take anything from the pantry, I insist. I'll be careful. As I pick my way through the filthy streets, my mind races. How did we end up here? If only I'd said something when I first discovered Father's affair. If only I'd pushed harder for us to leave Voig. If only... I shake my head, forcing the thoughts away. What's done is done. All that matters now is keeping my family alive. A gruff voice cuts through my reverie. You lost, pretty thing? I whirl around to see a burly man leering at me. My heart pounds, but I stand my ground. I'm fine, thank you. He steps closer, his breath reeking of cheap ale. Don't look fine to me. Look like you could use some... help. I back away, my hand fumbling for something, anything to use as a weapon. I said I'm fine. Leave me alone. I duck into a narrow alley, my heart pounding in my chest. The drunk's laughter echoes behind me, but I don't dare look back. Focus, Fleur. A flicker of light catches my eye. A half-burnt candle illuminates a small stall, its shelves laden with day-old bread and wrinkled fruit. The old woman tending it eyes me warily. What'll it be, girl? I fumble in my pockets, producing a handful of copper coins. Whatever this will buy, please. She grunts, tossing a few stale rolls and bruised apples into a cloth. It's not much, but it'll have to do. Thank you, I murmur, clutching the bundle to my chest. The journey back feels longer, every shadow a potential threat. When I finally reach our alcove, relief washes over me. Fleur! Celine's eyes light up. You're back. I force a smile, distributing our meagre feast. Eat up, everyone. We need to keep our strength. As we nibble on the hard bread, Mother's eyes meet mine. The unspoken question hangs between us. What now? I have no answer. Night settles over Protheka, the sounds of the slums a discordant lullaby. Celine curls up beside me, her head resting on my lap. I stroke her hair, humming softly. Fleur? She whispers. Will things ever be okay again? My throat tightens. Of course they will. We just need to stick together. She nods, her breathing eventually slowing into sleep. I lean back against the cold stone, my eyes heavy but my mind racing. The first rays of dawn creep through the cracks in the buildings, painting the world in a sickly grey light. I blink, disoriented, my body aching from another night spent on the cold, unforgiving ground. Something's wrong. The air feels different, charged with a tension that makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. No! Mother's anguished cry jolts me fully awake, sending my heart racing. It's gone! Everything's gone! I scramble to my feet, nearly tripping over Celine in my haste. My eyes dart around our makeshift camp, and my heart sinks like a stone in my chest. Our meagre pile of belongings has been ransacked, picked clean by the vultures of the night. Father's pocket watch, the last remnant of our former life, Mother's jewellery that we'd been saving to sell, even Adeline's favourite book, all vanished without a trace. How could this happen? Adeline sobs, clutching the tattered remains of her shawl to her chest, like it's the only thing left in the world. Her eyes, wide with disbelief and fear, bore into mine, begging for answers I don't have. I clench my fists so tight my nails dig into my palms, drawing pinpricks of blood. Anger and despair war within me, threatening to tear me apart. We should have taken turns keeping watch. I growl, more to myself than anyone else. I should have... It's not your fault. Mother cuts in, her voice hollow and defeated. She places a trembling hand on my arm, but I can barely feel it through the haze of my self-loathing. We're all exhausted. We couldn't have known. But I should have. The words echo in my mind, a damning refrain. I'm the eldest. It's my job to protect them, to think of these things. And I've failed. Again. Gale tugs at my sleeve, his lower lip trembling. Fleur, I'm hungry. I close my eyes, willing the tears not to fall. We have nothing left. No food, no valuables to trade, not even a change of clothes. What do we do now? Celine asks, her eyes wide with fear. I take a deep breath, squaring my shoulders. I'll get a job. We'll find a way. I promise. But as I look at their tired, dirty faces, I wonder how I can possibly keep that promise. There isn't much left of the world after the orcs came.
Savage. Brutal. Merciless.
If you're a woman, you're property. Even to other humans.
What happens when an orc stakes his claim on a human woman? Who would dare to stop him?
Me. Chapter 7. I wipe down the sticky bar top for what feels like the 100th time tonight, my arms aching from the repetitive motion. The din of raucous laughter and clinking glasses fills the air, a cacophony that never seems to end. Welcome to the Gilded Rose, where human women are the main attraction and dignity is left at the door. Oi, wench! Another round over here! A gruff voice calls out, accompanied by the thud of an empty tankard hitting the table. I grit my teeth, forcing a smile that doesn't reach my eyes. Coming right up, sir. As I pour the ale, I catch sight of my reflection in the tarnished mirror behind the bar. My once lustrous hair hangs limp and greasy, dark circles marring the skin beneath my eyes. This isn't me. This isn't my life. But it's what I've been reduced to. Fleur, table 3 needs attention. Mara, another human server, hisses as she brushes past me. Her eyes are hollow, devoid of the spark that once made them shine. I wonder if mine look the same. I make my way to the table where a group of dark elves sit, their sharp features twisted in cruel amusement. One of them reaches out, his long fingers wrapping around my wrist. Well, what have we here? His breath reeks of alcohol and something fouler, like rotting meat. I fight the urge to gag as he leans in closer, his pale eyes roving over me. Aren't you a pretty little thing? I try to pull away, my heart hammering in my chest, but his grip tightens painfully. Please, sir, I'm just here to serve drinks, I manage to say, keeping my voice as calm as possible, despite the fear coursing through me. He laughs, a sound like breaking glass that sends chills down my spine. Oh, but you're here to serve us in any way we desire, aren't you? His tongue darts out, wetting his thin lips, and I feel bile rise in my throat. My stomach churns violently, but I force myself to keep my voice steady. I'm afraid you're mistaken. I say, meeting his gaze despite every instinct screaming at me to look away. Now, what can I get you to drink? The dark elf's eyes narrow, a dangerous glint in their depths that makes my blood run cold. You forget your place, human, he hisses, yanking me closer. We own this city. We own you. Let her go. A voice cuts through the tension, deep and gravelly. It's Bran, the half-orc bouncer. His massive frame looms over the table, and even the dark elves seem to shrink back. I've never been so glad to see him. Some of us actually want a damn drink, he growls, cracking his knuckles menacingly. The elf releases my wrist, but his smirk remains, cold and cruel. No trouble, he says smoothly, holding up his hands in mock surrender. We were just having a friendly chat. His eyes never leave mine, promising that this isn't over. As I retreat to the bar, my hands shaking, I catch snippets of conversation from nearby tables. Did you hear? They're tightening restrictions on human-owned businesses. Good. Keep those vermin in their place. I heard they're considering a curfew for all humans. Can't have them wandering about after dark, can we? The words wash over me, each one a reminder of how far we've fallen. This isn't just about losing our wealth and status. It's about losing our humanity in the eyes of those who rule. I think of my family, huddled in our cramped, rented room, of Celine's hollow cheeks, Adeline's determination to follow in my footsteps, working like nothing more than flesh for pleasure, and Gale's persistent cough, of Mother's vacant stare as she tries to mend clothes that are more whole than fabric. This job, as degrading as it is all that stands between us and starvation, between us and the streets. So I'll endure. I'll smile and serve and pretend I don't hear the insults or feel the wandering hands. That night I trudge up the creaky stairs to our rented room, my feet heavy with exhaustion. The door groans as I push it open, revealing the dim interior lit only by a single flickering candle. Fleur. Celine's voice greets me, a mix of relief and desperation. Thank the gods you're back. Gale won't stop crying, and Mother's been in one of her moods all day. I sigh, dropping my bag by the door. The room reeks of unwashed bodies and despair. Adeline sits in the corner, her face buried in her knees, while Mother stares blankly out the grimy window. I'm hungry, Gale whimpers, his tiny face streaked with tears. We're all hungry, Adeline snaps, lifting her head to glare at our youngest sibling. Quit your whining. Don't talk to him like that, Celine retorts, her voice sharp with irritation. I clench my fists, feeling the last thread of my patience snap. Enough! My shout silences the room. Even Gale's sniffles cease. Is this what you've all been doing while I've been out there, slaving away to keep us fed? I demand, my voice trembling with anger. Sitting here, wallowing in self-pity. Mother turns her vacant gaze towards me. Fleur, dear, there's no need to shout. No need. I laugh, the sound harsh and bitter. Look at us, Mother. Look at what we've become. And you all just sit here, waiting for someone else to fix it. Adeline stands, her eyes flashing. What do you expect us to do? We've lost everything. We haven't lost everything, I spit back. We're still alive, aren't we? But we won't be for long if we don't toughen up. I reach into my bag, pulling out a meagre loaf of bread and a small chunk of cheese. This is all I could get today. It's not much, but it's something. As I divide the food, I continue, my voice hard. From now on, things are going to change. We can't afford to be weak anymore. The world out there doesn't care about our feelings or our past. It only cares about what we can do, what we can offer. But Fleur, Celine begins, her voice wavering. I cut her off. No buts. We either get stronger or we die. It's that simple. Be strong or die. That's the life we live now. Chapter 8. I lean against the bar, my eyes scanning the crowded room of the Gilded Rose. The air is thick with smoke and the stench of cheap ale, but beneath it all, I catch the scent of opportunity. These drunken fools, their tongues loosened by drink, might just be my family's ticket out of this hellhole. I lean closer to the dark elf nobleman, my breath ghosting over his pointed ear. The scent of alcohol and expensive cologne fills my nostrils, and I suppress a grimace. "Another round coming right up, my lord," I purr, my fingers lingering on the tankard's handle. As I turn to fetch his drink, I catch sight of my reflection in the grimy mirror behind the bar. My green eyes are bright with calculation, a stark contrast to the simpering smile I've plastered on my face. I adjust my bodice, ensuring it's low enough to keep the nobleman's attention where I want it. "Here you are, my lord," I say, sliding the fresh tankard towards him. "Our finest brew, guaranteed to make your night unforgettable." I lean in conspiratorially, letting my lips brush his ear. "And perhaps, if you're feeling generous, you might share some tales of your travels. A girl like me dreams of adventure beyond these dreary walls." The nobleman chuckles, his hand finding its way to my waist. I force myself not to flinch, reminding myself of the greater goal. Every bit of information, every coin, brings me one step closer to freedom. As I entertain the drunken lord, my ears remain attuned to the conversations around me. The talk of the Shadowmere Pass intrigues me. It's dangerous, yes, but danger often walks hand in hand with opportunity. And right now, I'll take any chance I can get to escape this miserable life. I file away every scrap of information, building a mental map of possible escape routes and potential allies. The weight of my family's fate rests heavy on my shoulders, but I won't let it break me. I'll do whatever it takes to get us out of here, even if it means playing the part of a simpering barmaid for one more night. I return to the dark elf, sliding his drink across the counter with a coy smile. "Here you are, my lord. Now, about those business ventures." My heart races, but I keep my composure, determined to milk every bit of information I can from this encounter. He leans in, his breath hot on my ear as he whispers about trade routes and secret deals. The proximity makes my skin crawl, but I force myself to stay still, to listen intently. I laugh at his jokes and gasp at the right moments, all the while storing away every scrap of useful information. My mind races, connecting dots and plotting potential moves. As the night wears on, I work the room like a master puppeteer, flirting and flattering, each conversation a carefully crafted performance. It's exhausting, but I can't afford to slip up. I learn of a merchant looking for new suppliers, a noble planning a grand feast, and rumours of unrest in the outer districts. Each tidbit could be the key to our escape, or at least a way to improve our lot. By the time my shift ends, my head is spinning with possibilities. My feet ache and my cheeks hurt from forced smiles, but I feel a glimmer of hope. I may be trapped in this cesspool for now, but knowledge is power. And power, I'm learning, is the only currency that truly matters in this world. As I hang up my apron, I allow myself a small, genuine smile. Tomorrow, I'll start putting these pieces together. For now, I need to rest and prepare for whatever challenges the new day might bring. I slip out of the Gilded Rose, the cool night air a welcome respite from the stuffy tavern. My mind races with the information I've gathered, each tidbit a potential lifeline for my family. But knowledge alone won't feed us or keep a roof over our heads. I need more. As I walk through the dimly lit streets of Protheka, I catch my reflection in a shop window. My once fine clothes are now threadbare, but my face is still my own, still beautiful, still an asset. I stop, studying myself. My fingers trace the curve of my cheek, the fullness of my lips. A bitter laugh escapes me. "Well, Fleur," I mutter to my reflection, "looks like you've got one thing left to sell." The thought makes my stomach churn, but I push the feeling aside. Survival isn't pretty, it's not noble, it's just necessary. I continue walking, my steps more purposeful now. I know what I have to do. The nobles, the merchants, the power players of this city, they all want something, and if I play my cards right, I can give it to them while taking what I need. "Hey there, pretty thing," a voice calls out. I turn to see a well-dressed dark elf leaning against a doorway. "Looking for some company?" I force a coy smile. "That depends." "Are you offering?" He grins, revealing sharp teeth. "I might be. What's your price?" I saunter over, my hips swaying. "Oh, I don't have a price," I purr. "I have requirements." His eyebrows shoot up. "Requirements?" I lean in close, my lips brushing his ear. "Information, connections, the kind of things that can change a girl's fortunes." He pulls back, studying me with newfound interest. "You're not just some common prostitute, are you?" "No," I say, meeting his gaze. "I'm not common at all." A slow smile spreads across his face. "Well then, my dear, I believe we have some negotiating to do." As I follow him into the building, I steel myself. This is just the beginning. I'll do whatever it takes to protect my family, to claw our way back to the top. And if I have to use my body to do it, so be it. It's a small price to pay for power. From the depths of the darkness of Protheka,
Or clawing up from the realms of fantasy.
come the most fearsome beasts you have ever seen.
These monsters are done watching from the shadows.
Now, as they step into the light, something unexpected grips them.
Something even they can't fight off.
Love,
Vampires.
demons,
Dark elves.
gods.
Minotaurs. Creatures of light and dark.
They will protect their mates.
Do whatever needs to be done.
Morally grey heroes who will burn the world to protect the women who love them.
10 audiobooks.
Fall into over 60 hours of fantasy romance.
20 ebooks.
Over 1 million words of these brutes who will protect their women.
Even if they might destroy themselves in the process.
Get the immersive Protheka fantasy romance bundle.
For 80% off, right now, dive into Protheka at a once-in-a-lifetime discount.
The first bundle to offer both ebooks and audiobooks on worldsofprotheka.com. Protheka's magic is eternal, and this romantasy bundle will make it endless. Chapter 9. I slip into the shadows of the Gilded Rose, my eyes scanning the dimly lit tavern. The air is thick with smoke and secrets, perfect for my purposes. I spot my target, a portly merchant with a penchant for loose lips and tight purse strings. "Evening, Master Thorn." I purr, sliding into the seat beside him. "Care for some company?" He eyes me appreciatively, his gaze lingering on the low cut of my dress. "Fleur, isn't it? What brings a pretty thing like you to my table?" I lean in, letting my breath tickle his ear. "I've heard whispers of a new trade route opening up. Thought you might be interested." His eyes widen, greed and curiosity warring on his face. "And how would you know about that?" I tap the side of my nose. A girl hears things, especially when she knows how to listen. Question is, what's that information worth to you? Thorn chuckles, reaching for his coin purse. "Clever girl. How about we discuss this over a drink?" I place my hand on his, stopping him. "I'm not interested in drinking, Master Thorn." He smirks. "Coin, is it?" I bat my eyelashes. A girl's gotta eat. I watch as Master Thorn's eyes widen, his fingers fumbling with the drawstring of his coin pouch. The weight of it lands in my palm, heavy with promise. "Well played, my dear," he chuckles, a mix of admiration and resignation in his voice. "You've a silver tongue to match that pretty face." I tuck the pouch away, feeling its comforting weight against my hip. "Flattery will get you everywhere, Master Thorn." except my coin purse. He leans back, stroking his beard. I must say I'm impressed. Not many can outmaneuver me in a deal. Where'd you learn such skills? Necessity is quite the teacher, I reply, my smile not quite reaching my eyes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have pressing matters to attend to. As I rise, he catches my wrist. Wait, there might be more where that came from, if you're interested in future opportunities. I gently extricate myself from his grip. I'll keep that in mind, Master Thorn. Good evening. The streets of Protheka are a labyrinth of shadows and whispers as I make my way home. The coin pouch feels like a burning secret against my side. When I finally reach our cramped, dilapidated dwelling, I pause at the door, taking a deep breath. I push it open, greeted by the sight of my family huddled around our meagre fire. My mother's eyes, once bright with laughter, now dull with worry, meet mine. Fleur? Where have you been? She asks, her voice trembling. I step into the flickering light, pulling out the coin pouch. I've brought us a little reprieve. Adeline gasps. Is that? I nod, emptying the contents onto our rickety table. The gold coins catch the firelight, glinting like stars fallen to earth. Celine jumps up. By the gods, Fleur, how did you manage this? I force a smile. Let's just say I've picked up a few tricks. Mother's hand trembles as she reaches for a coin. This is more than we've seen in months. Fleur, my dear, how? I cut her off gently. It doesn't matter how. What matters is that we can eat properly tonight, maybe even afford some new clothes. Gale throws his arms around me. You're amazing, Fleur. We won't go hungry anymore, will we? I stroke her hair, my throat tight. Not if I can help it, little one. That night, we eat like royalty. Well, kind of. I sit on the edge of our threadbare mattress, watching Gale's chest rise and fall in his sleep. The coins from tonight's scheme glint in the moonlight, a reminder of how far we've fallen. My fingers curl into fists, nails biting into my palms. Fleur. Adeline's whisper breaks the silence. You're still up. I turn to see her propped up on one elbow, concern etched on her face. Just thinking. She scoots closer. About father? The name sends a surge of bitterness through me. Among other things. I miss him, she admits softly. I can't stop the harsh laugh that escapes me. Miss him? After what he did to us? Adeline flinches. He's still our father. A father who chose his lust over his family. I spit. Look around, Adeline. This is what his love got us. My sister's eyes fill with tears. But surely he didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't he? I stand, pacing our tiny room. He knew the risks. He knew what would happen if he was caught, and he did it anyway. Maybe he just made a mistake. A mistake. I whirl on her. A mistake is forgetting to close the windows before a storm. This question mark, this was a choice. He chose her over us, over Mother, over you and Celine and Gale. Adeline's lip trembles. What are you saying? I take a deep breath, the words I've been holding back for weeks finally spilling out. I'm saying he doesn't deserve our forgiveness. He deserves to suffer, just like we're suffering. Fleur, you don't mean that. But I do. The realization settles over me like a cloak. He destroyed everything we had, Adeline, everything we were. And for what? A few nights with a dark elf girl. Stop it! Adeline hisses, glancing at our still sleeping siblings. I lower my voice, but the venom remains. No, I won't stop. Not until he pays for what he's done. Not until they all pay. What are you talking about? I meet her gaze, and something in my expression makes her shrink back. Revenge, sister dear. I want it. Chapter 10. The morning sun filters through the cracks in our ramshackle home, and I'm already up, coins jingling in my pocket. I've made my decision. No more playing by the rules that have only brought us misery. I'm heading out, I announce, adjusting my threadbare cloak. Mother looks up from mending Gail's shirt. Where to, dear? I force a smile. Just some errands. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. The streets of Protheka are alive with the bustle of the morning market. Merchants hawk their wares, the air thick with the scent of spices and desperation. I make my way through the crowd, my eyes fixed on a particular stall. Well, well, the shopkeeper, a wizened, dark elf woman, cackles as I approach. What brings a pretty little human to my humble shop? I meet her gaze unflinchingly. I need a dress. Something eye-catching. Her eyebrows shoot up. Oh? And what's the occasion, dearie? Does it matter? I counter, pulling out a handful of coins. I have the coin. Do you have what I need? She grins, revealing a mouthful of pointed teeth. For the right price, I have everything. An hour later, I'm standing before a racked mirror in a secluded corner of the market, hardly recognizing myself. The dress is a deep, rich purple, clinging to curves I didn't know I had. It dips low in the front, leaving little to the imagination, and a slit runs up the side, exposing a tantalizing glimpse of leg. My, the shopkeeper purrs. You clean up nicely, human. Got your sights set on some wealthy dark elf, eh? I turn to her, my chin held high. My sights are set much higher than that. She cackles again. Ambition. I like it. Just be careful, dearie. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. I think of my family, of our fall from grace, of my father's betrayal. A cold smile curves my lips. Don't worry. I've already fallen once. This time I'm not letting go. As I step back onto the street with the dress in a nice bag, I catch my reflection in a shop window. Gone is the naive merchant's daughter, replaced by a woman with fire in her eyes and steel in her spine. I smile at my reflection, a predator's grin. But not a single drop of joy is there. The girl that I was, she's gone. Forever. In her place stands a woman forged by betrayal and hardship, a creature of ambition and cold calculation. I can almost feel the last remnants of my innocence crumbling away, like ashes scattered on the wind. I stride into our cramped home, a carefully wrapped package tucked under my arm. The familiar scent of mould and desperation assaults my nostrils, but I push it aside. This is temporary. Everything's about to change. I've made sure of that. The package in my arms is more than just a dress. It's the key to our salvation, the first step on a path that will lead us out of this squalor. Fleur! Gale exclaims, jumping up from his spot by the dying fire. His eyes light up with childish curiosity as he spots the package. What's that? He bounces on his toes, reaching out with grubby hands. For a moment I see a flicker of the life we once had, of the carefree days before our fall. But I can't dwell on that now. We have to move forward no matter the cost. I smile, setting the package on our rickety table. A surprise, little one. Mother looks up from her mending, her brow furrowed. A surprise? Fleur, we can barely afford bread. Trust me, I say, unwrapping the package to reveal a shimmering silk dress in deep crimson. The fabric catches the dim light, seeming to come alive. Adeline gasps. It's beautiful, but why? I hold the dress up against myself, relishing the feel of quality fabric after months of coarse rags. It's an investment. An investment? Celine scoffs. In what? Looking pretty while we starve. Celine, Mother chides, but I can see the worry in her eyes. I lay the dress carefully on the table. This dress is our ticket out of here. You think I can make connections in these rags? I gesture to my threadbare clothes. This is how we climb back up. By what? Selling yourself. Adeline's voice is barely a whisper. The room falls silent. I meet each of their gazes in turn. If that's what it takes. Fleur, no. Mother stands, her face pale. We'll find another way. I laugh, but there's no humour in it. Another way? Look around, Mother. This is what playing by the rules got us. It's time to change the game. But at what cost? Celine asks, her voice small. I turn to her, my eyes hard. At whatever cost necessary. I won't let us rot here while Father lives every day with guaranteed meals. Fleur, Mother gasps. No, Mother, it's time we faced reality. Father abandoned us. The world chewed us up and spit us out. Well, I'm done being a victim. This dress. I run my hand over the silky fabric. This is just the beginning. Gale tugs at my sleeve. But Fleur, I'm hungry. My resolve wavers for a moment as I look into his wide, innocent eyes. Then I steel myself. I know, little one. But soon, you'll never be hungry again. I promise. The silence that follows is heavy with unspoken fears and grudging acceptance. I pick up the dress, cradling it like the precious commodity it is. You'll see, this is how we take back what's ours. As I turn to leave, I catch a glimpse of myself in our cracked mirror. The girl who stares back is a stranger, harder, colder, but stronger too. She's ready to do whatever it takes, and so am I. Watch out, Protheka, I murmur. I'm coming for everything you took from me.